All right. Hey,
Welcome.
we are back. 2024.
Our first podcast of the
I
year.
know. First one of the year. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to 2024 version of the Tennessee USA Wrestling Power Hour podcast. I am your host, State Chairman Mike Hatcher, and this is my so gracious co-host, Kenya Sloan. We are back after a week off last week.
I know. It
Speaking
almost
of
felt
which,
like 2 weeks
I
because
know, didn't
the
it
week
though?
before was kind of different. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we had for those of you that didn't, I mean, it was kind of there was so much going on, during the holidays that
Mhm.
it's kind of hard with everything. But and plus I was late last minute. I didn't know who would show up at the duel, so I wanted to do someone, get some someone on there that we wouldn't normally have, and we were fortunate enough to have Royce Alger on, which was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, that
And
was cool.
yeah, I mean, it's always good. I mean, he's a character, that's for sure. And just I mean, what a just a wealth of knowledge from a wrestling perspective. So we're lucky to have him on there. So we're going to start. We need to start sharing that out more, and get people watching that because actually there's a lot of wrestling that can be learned there. But yeah, it seems like it's kind of it's been a minute since you and I chopped it up over our streaming. Or what is it? This is a stream
StreamYard.
Streamyard. It's been a little bit. It's been a couple weeks.
Has been.
So how was the holidays, Kenya?
The holidays were good. Man,
Yeah.
so much happened. I guess in such a short period of time. But Christmas was good. This is the first, like holiday season in a while. I didn't have to travel to see all my family. So it was nice.
Oh, you got to like that, huh?
Yeah, Christmas was good. New Year's was good. I did a little coaching New Year's Eve, like last
Yeah.
minute. So that was fun. Yeah, in Chattanooga at the little Tyrant.
Oh, that little tyrant tournament. How was
Yeah,
that?
it was super fun. I'd never been to that tournament before.
Uh-huh.
But one of my girls who, I mean, she's in high school, but she was young enough for 14U, like last minute, had a coach going with her. And then all of a sudden things changed. And she was like, do you have anything going on this day or no? And I'm like, it's New Year's Eve. Of course I have things. But it worked out perfect. Yeah, I was able to go. So that was fun. A good balance of wrestling and then also like, fun stuff for the holidays. So
Yeah, of course. Good,
yeah.
good.
How was
Yeah,
your
I think that tournament's good. I mean, pretty good. Easton was there.
was
Daddy
fun?
Moss
I
kids
was
were
in
there.
Easton's
Did you see
corner.
Easton? You see the Daddy Moss?
I
They were
was in
there.
Easton's corner for her.
Oh, you were.
Yeah.
Oh, I
It,
see how it is.
it was
Don't be trying to steal
I
one of my
know.
kids. Can you dang recruiting kids already? You guys trying to steal one of the Tennessee
Oh,
kids already?
it was so
She ain't coming out east. Can you just stop that right away?
listen. All I did was I saw a friend in need, so
Yes,
stepped
I got it.
up.
Oh, she's awesome. Yeah, she's
Oh, it
awesome.
was.
Her,
Yeah.
yeah,
Cool.
her and Jake, they're awesome. So that's
Yeah.
good. Yeah, I mean, not much of I didn't really have much for Christmas. My family we always go on vacation for Christmas. So
Yeah.
which I've got to announce next week with the podcast, and you don't even know this yet, but so
Oh, yeah.
but,
Like what?
so anyway, no, we always go on vacation this year, because my brother and his wife and my youngest niece they moved to Cocoa Beach, Florida, and so they have to go all the way up to Minneapolis for his wife's family's Christmas up there. So it was a little bit difficult for us to travel. But then so we booked a cruise out of Port Canaveral, which is right where Cocoa Beach is. So we're going to cruise leaving Friday. So that'll
Oh,
be yeah. So we kind of just postponed our
like a
Christmas.
belated Christmas
Yeah,
cruise.
it'll be a related Christmas, and we honestly I can't even remember last year. We decided, I think it was about 10 years ago. We just really kind of stopped getting gifts for everybody. We'll just go on vacation and do it that way. And we started doing that a
Yeah.
while ago. And we've always, I mean, we haven't celebrated Christmas on Christmas Day in quite some time. It's been a while. So
Mhm.
this is it's not really new to us. So we're just happy to enjoy each other's company and stuff like that.
Oh,
But for the podcast next week, I'm going to have to find myself a replacement on my end because I don't know if I trust, yeah, I don't
I'm
know.
gonna have to make.
I don't know if I trust the Wi-Fi on the cruise ship.
Oh my
So I'm not gonna commit to something I can't commit to. So I will get us a replacement for sure on the
That'll be fun.
podcast. Yeah, so it'd be good. It'd be good. So I'm sure that person will do better than me, and then I can
Oh
pawn
my
this off
gosh.
on them. There we go. And then
You
that's
know,
that's my grand scheme right there.
listen,
So
it would break my heart to not get my Tuesdays with you. So
yep.
I
So
had to,
other than that, but I did on Christmas Day. I drove down to Chattanooga. My niece lives there, so hung out. Shout out to my niece Briley. Hung out to her for about 3 days. Hung out with her about 3 days, so it was great. Saw some really good friends of mine in Chattanooga, so love being in that area. So it's awesome. And then New Year's Eve came back up here. A friend of mine had a party, so I went there, hung out for a little bit, and then went to the Soho House New Year's Eve party. So it was good. Yeah, can't complain. So watched the football games yesterday, which was pretty epic, man. Some great games, awesome games. So other than that, just getting ready for a cruise. And actually, I'm repping this. If you can see, if I see everybody see you nice and close, Consolidated Medical Services. For those of you who don't know, that's Josh Sturgill. And if you can't see, this is Mike Hatcher with the camouflage on, which is.
You got to put your head down more for them to see the camera.
Yep, see the camouflage? There we go. That doesn't happen very often, ladies and gentlemen. And those of you, those of you that know me know that camouflage is not something you normally see me in, because I've actually never been hunting. I go fishing every Thanksgiving with my
never been hunting?
Never been hunting. Actually, I take that back. I went with Matt Waddell one time. We sat out in the deer stand for like 2 hours and didn't see nothing. So I really call that
is mostly.
But now my boy Sturgill, that's on the other hand, this he's the real deal. So so he's taking me hunting for, let's just call it my second time, but really I'm going Thursday. So I'm excited. So yeah, I'm repping, we're at the Tennessee recap. I got USA Wrestling. Boy Sturgill right here. I'm actually repping my own company because we did these hats also. So my first piece of this is like real camouflage. Like I've got a designer camouflage jacket that I wear out that make me, I don't know, it seemed to be cool. I got some designer camouflage joggers, which I'm sure that hunting people would probably laugh at both of those camouflage pieces, but this one's actually
so I don't think I own a single piece of camo, and I have nothing against it. It's just what's a girl need camo for?
That's right. Shoot. But yeah, so that's what's going on in my world. I can't wait, looking forward to see my family. We see each other, a handful of times a year. So it's always fun. So it's always great to have the whole family together.
Absolutely.
So that's that. But I think we got a lot to talk about tonight.
We do.
I set that little time schedule out, and here me and you are chopping it up. We're already running late. That's all right, though. Our special guest is waiting on us just to kind of get things done.
Yeah, I know. People really don't want to hear about our
But hey, listen, our other guest at 7:30, Pete Miller, he knows I'm always late, so who knows? He'll probably just tune in too. So it is what it is. But
well, let's quickly review some of the girls tournaments.
Yeah, what do you got? What do you got in the girls' side? There's been some busy times here over the holidays.
I know. So there was really 3 big events that were super worth mentioning just for the past few weekends while we've been gone. For one, they had the Rumble for the Rose at Bradley. I think this was the first year they had this tournament. I hope I'm not speaking incorrectly there. But they had a super great turnout. We're not going to go over the specific results, but I did at least try and go through and count how many programs were there. And it looks like there was at least 16 or 17 programs that were represented at the tournament. So that tournament was in Bradley. And so, yeah, again, just the same pattern of how amazing that we're having local Tennessee girls tournaments with this much of a turnout. And then at Mount Juliet had a smaller tournament that same weekend, and they had close to 9 programs show up. So that's what 30 teams wrestling in the same weekend just within our state.
Dang.
So that was big and cool. And then Cleveland took a little trip down to Florida.
Little trip, yeah.
Florida.
That's
for
so
this
little.
knockout tournament.
I know.
And what do you know? They win the dang thing. So they had 5. They won the entire tournament. They had 5 girls that placed. We had the one and only Piper Fowler, who took first place. Mm-hmm. We had Senna Grassman, who we've talked about multiple times on here. She took second. Mm-hmm. Diamond Young took third. Micaiah Parker took 4th, and then Madeline Zunnan took 5th place. So with those 5 placers, and obviously partition of everyone else in the tournament, our girls Tennessee team won the Kiss Me knockout tournament. So that's super cool. I knew people from all over the place that were going to coach and wrestle at that tournament, and I didn't even know we were sending girls from Tennessee until our lovely guest Miss Fowler sent me the results. So that's super cool that tournament was won by a Tennessee team.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's the first one ever, wasn't it? First ever knockout tournament for girls.
I think so. Yeah.
I think so. And that tournament's gotten, as a Christmas tournament, it's just gotten tougher and tougher every year. I know on the boys' side, it's pretty legit. There's a lot of good teams there. Sure.
I'm always surprised. Even on the college team, there's all these big, huge tournaments that happen over Christmas break. In my mind, I'm always they can't have that great of a turnout, but they do. That's how committed athletes are to the sport. I think it's super cool. But so congrats to Cleveland. That's awesome.
Love it. Good time for wrestling right now, Kenya. Well, tell you what, speaking of Fowlers, we're going to get our first special guest in here, get her on stage.
So happy.
I know, and she's going to help us out here. The one and only McKenzie Fowler. Hey, how we doing?
Doing great. How are you guys?
Oh, we're good. We appreciate you joining us.
Absolutely.
Well, for those who don't know, McKenzie Fowler is our current women's director in our Tennessee USA Wrestling organization. And to say that she does a lot for us on the girls' side is probably quite the understatement of the year. I mean, from an organizational standpoint, and like I said, I'd like to take this, time as a state chairman just to thank McKenzie and just in general for everything she does, and having our, just having our girls side run as efficiently as it has, in the past, couple of years. I mean, it's just, I mean, I'm sure McKenzie's going to go into plenty of it about the growth and just the different things that are happening on the girls' side there with USA Wrestling. But man, she is a huge part of it. So welcome, McKenzie.
Well, thank you. You're giving me way too much credit there. So,
well, you know what?
But it is
deserved.
an exciting time for girls wrestling.
It is. You know what? Here's the thing, though. You and Kenya, if you start getting like maybe like an evil look from Kenya, don't think it's nothing. It's not a big deal, because she's just a little upset because she didn't have these type of opportunities when she was going through. She's going, wait a second. What?
Where have you been all my life? But even like from the perspective of this podcast, there would be no girl side of the Power Hour podcast without McKenzie Fowler. I get to hop on here and show my face every single week. But in reality, I don't know anything that's going on ever. And if it worked for, pretty much every single week, McKenzie gives me like a full rundown of what's going on. Otherwise, I wouldn't even know what to talk about on here. So, obviously just from like an organizational standpoint, but even literally on this podcast, like we get representation because of McKenzie. So thank you so much for joining us today. We finally
absolutely.
You bet. So you want to tell everybody what we're gonna be doing here, what our format's gonna be like?
What we're going to do is we're going to highlight some of the things that have happened with the 14U girls, the 16U girls, and the junior girls over this past year. It's been an exciting time for Tennessee. And I think the overall theme is that our numbers and our growth is tremendous, which is really exciting to see that in Tennessee. So in our 14U group, we took our first ever 14U dual team to the tournament in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and they placed 6th in that tournament. They did an incredible job. I had the opportunity to be there to watch a lot of their matches, and we've got a great group of girls coming up and representing us well on that 14U dual team. Some of the girls that we want to highlight and some of their standouts for the year. So we had Riley Sturgill. She was a 14U national duels All-American, Southeast Regionals Greco and Freestyle champ, Tulsa champ, Tulsa kickoff champ. She got 2nd at Reno Worlds, 4th at Women's Nationals, 6th at Ironman and Super 32. Jeez. Pretty impressive year there for Riley Sturgill. So,
Riley, you do anything else? She got no time for anything else. I know. My goodness.
Yeah, everything that she didn't place at was probably because she wasn't there. She
wasn't there, right?
I tell you what, one quick plug for that 14U team, and I was talking to our team leader for that, Kevin Hilton, and that was the highest placing team ever from Tennessee in a national dual tournament, USA Wrestling.
That's awesome.
So, and we didn't want to mention Shane Chittum, that you've been putting together teams for however long. Shane Chittum. Kevin didn't want to bring that up. Like, this was Kevin's first team he's ever put together, and he was the highest place winner. So
yeah, he had to pull a coach together. We were having trouble getting a coach.
Last minute coach together and everything. Yeah. So
yeah, these girls kick butt at under even the craziest odds. They're like, I don't have a coach, but they still pull out such a successful tournament. That's cool.
Yeah. And I tell you what, we had a couple girls from Middle Tennessee that were on that team, and they came back and they just loved that trip. They thought it was so much fun. It was awesome.
It was a fun trip. And it's always fun when you have success, but it was a fun trip, and it's just fun watching these girls compete and have the success that they're having.
Absolutely. Well, there we go. We got two of the top 5. What else we got there, McKenzie?
So we got Caroline Hilton. She won the Trinity Award, and that's for winning Tulsa, the kickoff, and Reno Worlds. Mm-hmm. Another great one that we've got there in 14U, and making a lot of waves out there as she's another fun one to watch. I think she was also one of our ones that competed in the Who's Number One.
She was.
One of our young girls that competed in the Who's Number One, willing to step out there on the mat. She doesn't turn down an opportunity to get out on the mat and to show us what she's got. So Caroline had a great, impressive year as well. And then we've got Delilah Queen, who the first time I saw Delilah, she's yours, was at the duels. Was the first time I actually got to see her in person wrestle. And so she was a TNAAU state champ, 6th at Reno Worlds, 2nd at Southeast Regionals freestyle, 14 national duels All-American, and the War of Roses champ. So 3 girls right there that had an amazing year representing Tennessee in the 14U division. So they did a great job. And the 5th thing we just wanted to highlight was the growth of our membership numbers. Just seeing, having enough girls to put that 14U dual team together, and just seeing the number of girls we have competing at these events across the country from Tennessee is pretty exciting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Of course, I always compare things back to my days as if it were so long ago. But it's true that when I was in high school, I feel like so many girls didn't even enter the sport until high school. And so the fact that we're slowly inching that back, and not only having girls participate under the age of 14, but having a lot of success under the age of 14, it's so promising for what our high school scene is going to look like, and then our girls that we're sending to colleges all over the U.S. Mm-hmm. So it's super cool to hear this much success in girls who aren't even in high school.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, Mackenzie's got her list ain't done. That's just 14.
I know. Sorry. we keep
but I tell you what's going to be cool though is when we see these 14Us what they're doing at 16U, and then what they do at juniors.
Oh, absolutely.
And then these, the little girls we got coming up through there that aren't even 14Us yet. It's exciting. It's exciting. Yeah. What's our next?
I think we had a lot of just speaking of the younger, you were talking about the Tyrant duels earlier in the Tyrant tournament. There was a lot of our younger girls that competed there. So it's fun. It's fun watching. Fun watching the growth. So that's for sure.
Love it. So now we level, what we got?
16U. So we've got we had Mariana Bowen. She was a freshman state champ. Mm-hmm. Ireland Lauren. She was a Fargo All-American. I had the opportunity to be there and watch Ireland compete at Fargo, and she had an incredible tournament. She is a tough girl. Super fun to watch, and she's injured right now, but no doubt in my mind she'll be right back out and placing at Fargo again this year if she makes it back for that tournament. Mm-hmm. On the list was Cleveland winning the first ever girls knockout tournament.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And then we had our first ever girls who's number one, which was a great event.
Yes.
Mike, I think you got to be at the girls.
I was. Yeah. So, shout out to Guess and Gordon for putting that together.
Yeah, that was a great event. So representing the girls.
Yep.
And then we had Piper Fowler, who had an amazing year, Super 32 champ, Fargo champ, and then topped it off as a world champ in Istanbul, Turkey. So
yes.
So that was a fun year.
That's not too bad of a 2023, is it? There.
No, it wasn't too bad.
You're okay with that one, huh?
I'm okay with that one. So
it's no pressure in our 2024 recap. I hope.
No, man, we couldn't be more proud to have a wrestler like that, and just in a kid like that at that level, that representing our state. She's not only an amazing wrestler, amazing kid. Amazing. It's awesome. Can't wait to see what the future holds for her.
Yeah, you get a good job with that one. Okay.
Thank you. I don't take any credit for that, but
right.
Good deal. And then if we going on to our junior girls, just wanted to, Kenya, I know you've mentioned a couple times, but I was just amazed as I looked back through some of the things throughout the year, the numbers that we had, and not just in participants, but in placers, and just how we've come as a state. So at the Southeast Region Tournament, we had 13 placers and 4 champions from Tennessee. So we had Autumn Sunderland, Evelyn. I'm sorry, Evelyn. I never get your last name right. It's is it Akoa? I'm not sure. And then Ella Murphy and Diamond Young. So those were our 4 champions at the Southeast Region Tournament. And those are, and as we hear some of these names, they're names that we talk about on a regular basis for our girls, these girls that are wrestling all year long, and really making a name for themselves in wrestling. And it's just exciting to see the success that they are having. We took 2 teams for the junior duels. And our A team placed 12th out of the 41 teams. We had, many All-Americans on those teams. Had a great, as we talked about with the 14U team, it was a great tournament. We had a lot of fun, and won a lot of matches. So I think Tennessee is making a name for themselves.
Absolutely.
And
two teams, sending 2 teams to that tournament in general, like, just, it's pretty impressive.
Competitive teams too.
Oh, yeah,
yeah. 2 competitive full teams.
12 out of 40 teams. That's, we've had trouble, just fielding a team in general in the past. But now, we filled 2, very, very strong teams. And I couldn't be more proud of the girls' side this year. They just, that's just awesome. It's awesome.
And I'm excited. I think the success that we've had is only going to encourage more girls to want to participate. And I think our numbers are only going to increase. And, I expect to see the same success at the junior duels and our 14U duels again this year. So we're only getting better.
Yeah.
At Freestyle State, we had 39 juniors compete at Freestyle State. Mm-hmm. And then we had 9 juniors participate in Fargo. And Fargo is a big commitment. And so to have 9 now, we didn't have any place in the junior division, but just having 9 go and compete, mm-hmm. I think says a lot for our state. I don't know the exact numbers in the past, but I know our numbers are definitely growing in having the girls compete in the Fargo division.
Absolutely.
So that was exciting. And it's some of the same names that we hear over and over of those that have done well throughout the season that we see placing in these tournaments, and those that have gone on to wrestle in college, and just really, really awesome to have that many girls from Tennessee.
Mm-hmm. Love it.
And then what I think is, in Kenya, you will probably feel the same about this, but I think it's awesome how many girls we have going on. A lot of our junior girls, this last year was the last year for their junior year. And I was able to list out at least 8 girls who are continuing on their wrestling career after Tennessee. So, and a lot of these girls are competing on the college level and doing great. I had Maggie Graham, Morgan Sakarzik, Elalina Gonzalez, Riley Bennett, Hannah Simone, Brooklyn Long, Kristen Haar, and Haley Redmond.
Wow.
So there may be more, and I do apologize to those that I may have left off that list, but the point is that we've got a lot of girls that are continuing their wrestling career after wrestling in Tennessee and having success in that career. And I think many see Kenya and others like her, the few others, there weren't as many as we have right now. And they have paved that path for these girls, and they know that that their future can continue, and they can with wrestling, and they can go and keep making us proud.
Love it. See, Kenya, pioneer. Tennessee wrestling.
Something like that.
I don't know. That sounds a little cooler when you're my age. Like, I'm pioneer, but I guess you're what? 20?
I know. That just makes me feel
Wait
old.
a second here.
So
That
thanks,
doesn't sound nearly as cool. My pioneer. Oh, geez. What's going on there?
I'm going to mute my
Kenny got something going on there. Kenny's trying to cook and do a podcast at the same time.
That would be me. Kenya.
I thought I was the only one of this podcast sets fire alarms off. They're cooking.
Oh my goodness! I think my mom is like cleaning the stove downstairs. Hopefully it's done. I'm so sorry.
Oh, love it. Well, McKenzie, those are awesome lists. Those are awesome top 5 lists. I mean, obviously, it's so exciting seeing, just where we're at right now for Tennessee. Just let's call it women's wrestling. Our whole side there. As our state women's director, where do you see our future here in Tennessee, and how do people get involved, and how are we going to make it better?
So one of the things that one of my goals is to come together as a state and in these national tournaments, put our best wrestlers out on the map, but also give all the girls the opportunity to be part of these teams and go and represent the state of Tennessee. We're not just looking at one area, one team. We want representatives from all over the state, and that's what will make us best. And that's what will push us. And as the girls teams get better, that pushes wrestling in the right direction. You've got to have that competition to make the wrestling better. And that's what is so exciting for me to see all these teams competing and growing, and just seeing wrestling grow throughout Tennessee. Would only like to continue to see it grow. And for those that want to get involved as coaches, as wrestlers, if they don't know how to get their name out, we need to make sure they've got the USA card. And then just get in touch with me, and we will, we'll set up camps across the state so that we can reach girls in all areas, and then just have the opportunities to bring these girls together. I think they can really push and motivate each other as we provide the opportunities for girls across the state to train together. And that's one of my goals as director for the women in USA Wrestling. So
love it. Well, I've got your first volunteer for you. She's up in the upper right hand corner.
Yeah.
Whether she likes it or not, she's already a volunteer. We might as well get her.
She does. Yes. I've already got her
another
name
level.
down.
She told me how uncomfortable she was with the podcast. Wasn't too crazy about it, but the coaching thing, I know she likes that. So there we go. It's easy sell. There it is, right there.
Well, and I've gotten to watch her coach some girls at the OTC, and just seeing that, and we need to get her in a room with these girls and let her run some trainings for them. So
absolutely, I'm here for it. And as you were speaking, I was thinking, you'll be able to agree so much. You've probably seen it way more than I have, but I feel like we owe so much gratitude to a lot of the programs and coaches who have boys teams, and they're sticking their neck out for their school, to their athletic department, to say, hey, like, it's not that big now, or school's never done it, but I think we should really give girls a chance at our school, or we should really try and build a program for them, because I know that is, it is not for the faint of heart. It is not in a lot of other coaches' jobs description. They're getting paid to coach a men's team, and they're still, putting their neck out for these girls so that they can have an opportunity too. And there's few people in my situation, like girls who have left and come back and want to help coach in the state. So there's been just so much work and effort to the coaches who already coach men's team, and they're like wanting to contribute to what we have going on the girls' side in the state. And I think we owe them a lot of gratitude. So if you guys are listening, thank you so much for doing that also.
Absolutely.
Great point. Well, Kenny, you got anything else for McKenzie?
Absolutely not. I'm so happy we finally got to see her face on here.
The last time, but we're gonna have her on here again. That's for sure. Yeah. We gotta keep getting her on here to plug that girls program and keep this thing going and get this train moving. Like I said,
that's right. That's right. We got to keep
two very influential females here in this podcast. So there we go. We ain't stopping at what we got now. We're gonna keep getting better every year. So
absolutely.
Kenny's got a lot of pull with her age demographic too. You got girls that just graduate in college, probably looking for coaching jobs. Either that or ones that Kenny can talk into coaching jobs. That type of stuff.
No, truly, it is. We need to capitalize on these girls getting out of college.
Absolutely,
we really do. Just getting them in the room and letting some of these girls have that experience would be awesome.
Love it. Well, I want to know, y'all have Kenya down in the Chattanooga area and do a little clinic, and then y'all can sit around and brainstorm. And,
there we go. Sounds like a plan.
That could actually be. You know what? That can actually be our first. Here I am, just throwing this out there on podcasts, stuff like that. But no, this could be our first state-funded, like training camp from maybe have it in Chattanooga area. Have Kenya come down, she can run the camp. Invite girls from all over the state. They come in, and y'all pick a weekend and get it done. I think it'd be great.
I like it. We'll make it happen.
There we go.
McKenzie, you need to hop in here more often. Now he's
See, you two make me smarter. Kenny makes me smarter every week. Then I bring McKenzie on, and shoot, I don't know. I think I'm pretty intelligent now. I'm pretty good. Yeah.
Sounds like a plan. We'll make it happen. Look forward to those dates.
Love it. McKenzie, thanks so much. Happy holidays to you and the Fowler family. And thanks again for joining us.
Yes. Thank you for everything you do.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Got it. Bye-bye. Bye. Oh man, that's awesome. We got some good things going on, Kenya, huh? On the girl side.
Absolutely. And she is like so in tune, and it's cool to be able to like step back and see everything that happened in the year, just like in one little recap. Because even though we hop on here often and we hit some of the small things, like it's easy to forget like some of the big things that happened in the year. So this was a genius idea. See, this was fully my catcher's idea, everybody. So
shoot. I think I was just like fishing for content.
Perfect. It's really cool to be able to see.
But next year, what we got to do is that, because I'm telling you what, because here's the thing, we're gonna have a banner year next year. I'm calling it right now. We're gonna have all kinds of things to celebrate. So we'll do next year, right before the end of the year, we'll do 1 week will be 2023 top 5 each stage division recap for the girls. The next week we'll do the boys, and we'll dedicate one podcast to each side.
Because we could cover.
We could cover a lot more, and then we can have a couple of the top 5 guests on there, and I think that's
right. We got to plan for next
week. We got weeks 51 and 52 already set for next week. Or actually, 50 and 51, because 52 we usually take off for Christmas.
So we just need 49 left.
That's it right there. We just got to figure out content. we'll make that happen.
We learn as we go around here.
Oh man, I love it though. I love what happened on that girl side. I'll tell you what, it's only getting better. You just what you were kind of aligning to there with just that Bradley tournament alone had almost 20 teams there. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's such a great thing to be a part of. So.
Love it. Well, cool. All right. We're gonna switch gears here to the boys' side. I tell you what, I'm going to go over some results. On the boys' side, I mean, over the Christmas break, I mean, there's some tough tournaments obviously throughout the year and stuff like that. But it's crazy because I think that like during the Christmas break, for some reason, they just lump a bunch of these really tough tournaments in, and then you got to figure out which one you go to. It is. I mean, usually it's just, and granted, I know there's a lot of there was probably a lot of in-state tournaments, but the ones that that really kind of came to mind were the out-of-state tournaments. And what's really cool for not only is the growth side, which I'll go into in a little bit in a second here after these results, but the growth as far as participation on our boys' side is increasing every year, which is awesome. But it's also our boys finally stepping outside the borders and going and finding the best competition, nationwide. And this isn't just happening in the off season in the spring. With the elite kids or the kids that really, really want to be good, going out and doing their thing from a freestyle and Greco's perspective in the spring, and then the free season, with the Super 32 stuff and everything. But even our high school coaches now are making a really big commitment to getting these guys to, the premier high school in-season tournaments, anywhere from, obviously, we had a good representation at the Ironman tournament. We got Beast of the East, we got some Ohio stuff, we got people going outside the knockout tournament, that we already alluded to in the girls' side. It's just those high school coaches really because it is a commitment, when you take kids out of state to that type of, friendly.
It's a big commitment.
Big tournaments. It's a big, not only financial commitment, it's a big, you got to get your administration behind you, and then you got to get your guys ready to compete. So there's a lot of moving parts in it. And I'm really, really proud of our coaches for providing those opportunities for those kids, during this high school season. So starting right before I think the break started was which is if on the boys' side, I think if you rank them, if you go like top 5 toughest in-season tournaments, I think you probably got to go with the Ironman is probably the toughest. That's in Ohio. That's a pretty legit tournament. But then the second and third ones are really, really tight between the Beast of the East and the Powerade tournament. The Powerade tournament was really, really strong this year. I saw the results of those. We didn't have anybody in Tennessee compete there, no teams there, but those 2 teams right there. But that Beast of the East has been traditionally a very, very, very strong tournament for decades, really. So we had actually 3 Tennessee teams competing there this year. We had Summit from Spring Hill, Middle Tennessee team. We had Signal Mountain from Chattanooga area, and we also had Dobbins Bennett from out east. So we had 5 place winners from Tennessee in the Beast of the East. We had JoJo Yurichuk. Imagine that, huh, Kenya? He was in the finals. He got second. Great job for him. 113, 120. We had Mason Jacob, who we had in the podcast as well. He got 5th at 120. At 126, we had Ethan Yurichuk. Can't bet against him. Yurichuk. Shoot. We got to get a t-shirt. We got to get a t-shirt and mail it to him. But Ethan got 5th at 126. And then we had 2 Summit kids rounded out. Jarvis Little got 6th at 132. And Landon DeSalle got 8th at 144. So really good results there for us at the BC East, which is again traditionally top 3, top 4 tournament, in high school wrestling. They're in-season tournaments. Then we had the Stampede Classic, which is also a pretty tough tournament, and that was out in Kansas City. Baylor got 3rd as a team. Yep, I think it was Baylor and Christian Brothers were the ones that were competed, Tennessee teams that were competing in that one. So Baylor got 3rd as a team. Malachi Puckett at 132 got 4th. Matt Hart from Baylor, also from Baylor. Malachi's from Baylor as well. 138 Matt Hart, who's on our podcast as well, got 4th. 144 Nate Askew from Baylor was 3rd. And then Baylor had 2 champs at 157 and 165. Hunter Sturgill. Right there. Yeah, Consolidated Medical. He's a champ at 157, and then our boy Max Norman was first at 165, and then Christian Brothers had themselves a placer, and my boy Drake Bowers, shout out to him, and my boy Derek Harrison, 5th place at 175 there at the Stampede. So good showing from Tennessee. Again, Baylor 3rd as a team, really strong tournament team Baylor has this year, very strong on the national level. Yep, and then another really tough tournament we've already discussed from the girls' side, the knockout tournament has been, especially in the Southeast, is probably, I would say, in-season tournaments. I would say not the knockout tournament is probably about as tough as it gets in the South, down in the Southeast. But Cleveland not only brought home the girls' title, they also brought home the boys' title as well. So Joey Knox got a loaded Cleveland team this year. So yeah, they tell you what, they just do a great job in general down there. But yeah, their place winners, they had Jose Cordero placed 4th at 106, Chase Walker at 113 was 3rd, and then Axel Ritchie, which Macaulay brought the team down there as well, and also Lakeway from Knoxville, they were down there as well. But Axel Ritchie from Macaulay was 6th at 113. Zach Boskin was 4th at 126. Logan Fowler just had McKenzie on, champ at 165, and then his brother Cy was 6th place at 175, and then Lucas Zaborski was in the finals. He's 2nd at 190. And also Jay Eversole from Lakeway was 5th at that particular weight class. And then Cooper Gentle from Macaulay as well was 4th at 215. And Tyson Russell at 275 for Cleveland was 4th. So, yep, congrats to the Cleveland team for winning the team title there. Yep, in both boys and girls. So Cleveland really representing here in the Southeast, that's for sure. And there were some tough teams in there too. I know South Dade, Florida. Shout out to my boy Vic Valmacida down there. He's they're multiple time Florida State champs. They were 2nd in that tournament, and Vic's always got, I mean, a legit team. So for Cleveland to knock them off in that tournament, that's a big win.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yep.
It's a big deal.
What's that?
No, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. And then most recently, Summit sent a team up to Brecksville, which is a very, very, very tough tournament in Ohio, and had some really good success. I mean, they only sent a few guys. I think it was like 6 guys, but had some really good success of knocking off some really high nationally ranked guys as well. So at 132, Jarvis Little, recent App State commit, was 2nd at that tournament. Lost to Marcus Blaze in the finals, who's pretty legit. Marcus Blaze has been beating everybody on the college level. So wow. He's actually a world champ, junior world champ. So yeah, he's pretty legit. So I mean, yeah, that's a tall order in the finals. But yeah, proud of Jarvis for getting the finals there, getting 2nd. Landon DeSalle got in the finals, beat a very high nationally ranked 2-time state champ from Ohio in the semis. So he was in the finals, ended up 2nd. And then at 150, Braden Leach. I told you, some point in time, this guy's going to break through. Kenya, did I not tell you? We had him. He's one of our first guests on the podcast. You did. Yep. And I tell you, hopefully this one right here, really lights a fire. I mean, I tell you, that kid's, he's as good as we got here. He's just got to get, he needs those type of wins. And that's a huge accomplishment from him getting the finals. And hopefully that puts a lot of confidence in him and moving forward here. So congratulations to that Summit crew right there. Went up to Brecksville and really represented at a very, very competitive Brecksville tournament there in Ohio. So so Tennessee was busy this Christmas break. That's for sure. They were definitely busy. So yeah, it's stuff. Awesome. Obviously, whenever we have a lot of big, cool things going on in the state, but then whenever our state goes to other states and just builds a reputation for, not only their school and their program and, their individual placers, but they're also representing our entire state and what we have to offer. So it's so cool on the girls and the boys side to see them not only being able to go to all these tournaments in season out of state, but then also
winning them.
I
What?
know.
Like,
I know. I know. I tell
yeah,
you,
that's awesome.
we're getting there. We're getting moving on up. Well, but speaking on the boys' side, I mean, like I said before, I was talking about the in-season tournaments up to this point, and just the representation that we're having at these bigger events in season. But I guess I could speak, as state chairman here. This is, I think, in total, I'm going to say this is my maybe 10th, 12th year. I don't even know how many years I was doing it before I moved out west, but now I'm back at it. This is my third year. So I've been at it for a while, but these recent years, like just coming back and just seeing what like when I was here the first time, I mean, Derek Harrison and I, who's Derek's my vice chairman still to this day, man, the challenges we had back then, from a membership perspective, it was, and just from a budgets perspective, just everything was it was just a much different landscape than what we have here. And just the hats off to, the board that when I came back and they wanted me to take over the state chairman again, the board that was already set in place was just a bunch of just really great people like McKenzie Fowler, like your Josh Sturgill, your Shane Shittum, Pete Miller is still involved. He was involved when I was there and came back. He's still involved. I'm just throwing people, and then adding people like our communications director, like Henry Blue, and just getting guys like Jason Pennington involved from Clarksville, and just it's and just even which I'm going to go into our officials stuff here in a second too, but just having, and I know I'm missing some people, but just having the people on board like that really at the end of the day just really want what's best for the state from a wrestling perspective it's huge. And when you have good people around you and you have good people that care and that get along really well, and there's no drama in your organization, great things happen. And it's just it's the only thing it benefits is the kids. We don't get the benefit from it, obviously, so but the kids are benefiting and the state's getting better, and we're, super proud of what's going on. But another banner year for us from a USA Wrestling standpoint. First and foremost, we had another 10% growth in athlete membership. And we're just under 2K right now, 2,000 members. We ended the year last year at 1,922. And, and again, Derek can attest to this. When we were operating way back, in the day, we were operating at a membership of probably under 900. So now, I mean, not only, I mean, it was a bare bones type of thing. And we were, in a position where, we just had to keep cranking along and keep providing the best opportunities we can. But now, I mean, we're more than doubled the membership than we were, at that point in time. And it's just hats off to the coaches and the people around the state that are really helping. And another really banner year that we had, or a banner category that we had this past year, was we had a 15% growth in referees and officials, which most states, most states and most areas are having 15% decrease.
Decline. Yeah.
And that's a shout out. I mean, our officials director, Nelson Shirley, I mean, when I say he knocked it out of the park this year, I mean, that's an understatement. And, it was in a hats off and a shout out to Justin Anglin, who was our officials director before. He really laid a really solid foundation as far as getting people involved in refereeing and officiating and putting the proper education in place to where it was really almost a done deal system where a guy like Nelson could go out and really do a lot of recruiting. He's Nelson very, very respected and very well liked throughout the state, and just started pulling referees and officials in and say, here's a link to our classroom. Just go ahead. You got to finish that. You got to fill out. You got to do the test. All the stuff that was developed by Justin Anglin. And now it's easy. And now, like I said, we actually had an overage of referees to where we didn't even have to dip into our resources last year at some tournaments, which has never, ever happened. So shout out to Nelson, shout out to Justin for helping with that in the future. And like I said, Nelson, man, we really appreciate it. His 2023 was awesome. Our state tournament growth last year, new all-time highs. Again, this was at Summit High School, Middle Tennessee. We were up 30% freestyle, our participation. At our state tournament, and 20% in Greco.
Oh.
Which is huge. I mean, that's just huge numbers, for just, I mean, so not only these kids, not only going and practicing and getting a USA card, they're actually competing, so that's a huge thing too. And this is another staggering number. We had a 38% growth in our participation at Southeast Regionals. I mean, that's almost 40% growth. I mean, and granted, it helps. It helps that it was in Cherokee, but with Cherokee, North Carolina, which is,
where was it before?
It floats around. Like next year it's going to be Atlanta. So we're probably going to have even more participation next year. I mean, when it's in a state like, if it's all the way down in South Florida, it might be tough for us to get to if it's places that. But I mean, even like a place like Cherokee, we have a lot of representation from the Memphis area, which for Cherokee to get to, like east, like all the Knoxville people, it's very, very easy. I mean, it's probably maybe 2 hours at the most. I know for me here in Nashville, Middle Tennessee, I think it was like 4 hours, maybe some of that neighborhood. But for a guy like Derek Harrison or Mark Beckwith, guys like that, Chris Lewis from Memphis, I mean, those dudes, that's a pretty good haul. That's an 8-hour haul at least, if not even more. So, so I mean, for us to have a 38% growth and really, I mean, not only just lead the other states from a Southeast regional perspective, but I'm talking like we crushed them. I mean, it was like we had like significantly more athletes there than North Carolina, who was the host state. Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So the Tennessee people are definitely showing up for sure.
That's awesome.
Yep. And then last but certainly not least, and McKenzie alluded to it already. I mean, we had 9 girls, participating at the Fargo level. This year overall, like last year in 2022, we had 65. 2023, we had 89. So almost 90 participants at the Fargo level. And then, yes, it's awesome. And again, looking back and comparing it, the first time I was here in the state, I mean, we would, if we had 15 kids there, we had a banner year. I mean, now we're creeping up around triple digits, so yeah. I honestly, I couldn't be prouder of what we have going on in the state and what's happening. And honestly, it's only going to get better because I know our talent and our next guest is going to kind of allude to these top 5 lists, with our age groups. But I mean, people say, I'm telling you, our 14U team this past year, I mean, quite possibly the best, age group we've ever had in Tennessee. I mean, we're talking like,
well, don't spill the beans yet.
Solid national level. And 16U, and then we got some national champions, little guys, 12Us and unders. So, man, it's a good time to be in Tennessee right now. There we go. I'm not knocking on wood. I'm just getting ready for my boy next guest right here. I don't know if you ever met Pete.
I haven't.
Pete Miller.
Hello.
How's it going, guys? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, our other special guest here tonight is our national teams coordinator on our boys' side. One that needs no introduction, honestly, to the state of Tennessee, except for maybe Kenya Sloan, because she hasn't been here. So she's new. she's new to our organization here, Pete. But you're looking at our newest board member right there. We'll make a special seat for her podcast. Yeah.
Welcome to the craziness.
She's Tennessee at heart, though. She's a Tennessee gal. But Pete Miller has literally been in the game for. Again, I was bringing up his name from when I was here the first time before I moved out west and went to the Grand Canyon Cal Poly. But Pete was one of our mainstays back then. Young coach, first year coaching, first year as a head coach. I mean, he wouldn't even blink an eye at doing anything we asked from an organizational standpoint. So he's been in the game for a long, long, long time. Now what he does is he oversees our national teams, our 14U, 16U, and junior national teams on our boys' side. Just making sure all logistics, all teams are getting picked, everything's going well on those sides. And not only that, but also one of the best coaches we have in the state, head coach at Summit High School. Who I just threw a bunch of his kids' names out on the results that happened over Christmas, and just does an amazing job. Has been the top 5 program for I don't know how many years now, and always been knocking on Cleveland, those guys' door. So he's just does an amazing job and really just means a lot to the state of Tennessee, and plus his dad Al Miller did a few things for Tennessee as well.
Yeah, big shoes to fill.
I don't know if Pete had any choice. I don't think he had a choice. I think when he decided he's going another coaching route, I think Al probably got in his ear and said, "Well, you got to make sure you get back to USA Wrestling."
Yeah, 100%.
Yes, sir. So Kenya, this is Pete. Kenya.
Pete,
you guys can finally meet. Definitely won't be the last time, but Pete's going to come at us with. So we had to add we had 3 age groups that we did with the girls: 14U, 16U, juniors. We had to add a 12U and under for these lists, and we only had really three bullet points on the 12U and under, just because our participation is pretty low, especially on the national level there. But we had some great things happen from a 12U. And so we really got 4 different categories here that we're going to do a top 5 list. And Pete's going to go ahead and give those kids a shout out right now. So let's roll it, Pete.
Yeah, so this group of juniors is definitely special for me. I've been very privileged to follow them around national duels, Fargo, stuff like that. So I've gotten to be with these guys for a long time. I guess let's start it off with junior duels, Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's always a tough tournament. And as usual, we all know the team we had on paper 2 weeks before we left was not the team that we arrived in Tulsa, Oklahoma with. So I'll go ahead and give a shout out to the team director, Jarvis Little. He did a fantastic job scrounging around, helping find some more people, fill those holes. So the guys that we took out there, I'll tell you right now, selfless. That's the way to describe the team. They were selfless. They stepped up. Every single person I can think of, aside from the heavyweight, bumped up a match or two to make sure that we get the duels. And I told them, I said, our job is to win dual meets, and that's what we're going to do. At the junior duels, every single match is going to be tough. We were in every single duel. I mean, I'm talking Iowa, Utah, New Jersey. We were in those matches. But what we talk about is, we're kind of that one person short, but if we look at some of those people that we were kind of missing this year, some of the names, Landon DeSalle wasn't able to compete in the duels this year. Kason Roark wasn't able to compete this year. And both of those guys have won multiple matches for us at the national level. But again, we had some new faces step up this year as far as the national duels team for juniors. So I think that was exciting for me. And like y'all said, the growth of wrestling across Tennessee is amazing. Derek Harrison, of course, sent half the team of his Christian Brothers boys to be able to fill the team. Summit had a lot of showings. East Tennessee had some really good showings. But what I like, too, is the new programs. Out of Middle Tennessee, you have Randall Jennings with Ground Zero. They're a first-year group, but Barlow wants to put his name out there to the world. He shows up to national duels. He goes to Fargo. He was one I was super proud of. A couple others, one that we thought that was going to, kind of not do it. We reached out to him. We needed to find a 190-pounder right away. But, we reached out to Logan Heckert. He decided to suck it up, never wrestled Greco a day in his life. He said, "Hey, coach, how do I do this?" I said, "Grip it, rip it, man." What he do? He goes out there and he goes 4-4. And he was like, "Man, this is fun." So definitely proud of Logan Heckert. He stepped up for us big time. Jake Stacy had to take him all the matches. Some other names for me. I know Max Norman. I know he's a cadet, but I got to brag on him for the junior level. He didn't have the cadet duels he wanted. So, he and I had a little chat. And I said, the best way to get over it, go back and compete. And he said, "Yes, sir." He hopped on the bus with us and he went out and had a phenomenal junior duels trip. Another person that really stepped up for us, Jose Cordero. He was fresh off the bus coming from cadet duels. He wasn't satisfied with the results and he really stepped up for us big time at the junior level. And I'm telling you, he definitely made a name for himself at the junior duels for what he did wrestling that weekend. But overall, Greco. A lot of times they say we're not a Greco state. I'm telling you, I think we are. We're good at gripping it and ripping it. Pretty easy, pretty simple. But overall for Greco, we got caught in a tough pool. We had a tough duel with Alabama, 33-31 loss. I was kind of close. We got thumped a little bit by Iowa. But overall, after stuff kind of the dust settled, we went 5-3 as a Greco team. Definitely satisfied with that. But another one of the names that I kind of want to brag about, just somebody that was a scrapper, Harlan Hunley out of Knox Halls. That kid, he just wanted to keep wrestling and keep wrestling and keep wrestling. He wrestled a tough match. He'd smack his hands, go, "Man, I got these guys next time." So I was super proud of the growth that he had over the course of about 4 or 5 days from the national duels, Greco and freestyle. Freestyle, we got caught in the pool early. We had a close 37-31 match with Utah. They stepped up. They over exceeded their seeds. They performed really well. And then we had the match of juniors over the last couple of years. Us in New Jersey, it was on the stage. We were talking some smack. They were talking smack. It was absolutely electric atmosphere. This is what Tennessee needed. And we took them right down to the wire, 33-32 match with New Jersey, who also ended up being a top 8 program. But for Tennessee to step up and go toe-to-toe with those guys on map 1 on the stage was absolutely awesome. So that was definitely a super highlight for me for the national duels. Fargo, this group of Studley juniors were a bunch of cadets last year. So a bunch of those guys were coming off of an electric cadet season. Juniors is a little bit tougher. So we had some guys that had medaled as cadets, make some blood rounds, win a bunch of matches as juniors. But as far as juniors go, we kind of got thumped a little bit out in Fargo. We did have one wrestler, Cooper Hilton. Oh my gosh, you talk about going on a tear. He ended up being 8-1 at Fargo. That's absolutely outstanding, coming all the way back and taking third. Yeah.
Bracket.
Yes. So super proud of him. Super proud of him to be in Tennessee with our junior team. We had a bunch of stud guys along this, been there with them before. Jarvis Little, Hunter Sturgill, Jake Stacy, all going deep into the tournament as usual. So yeah, as far as juniors, a lot of them, that was their first year as a junior. They got another junior year this year. So hopefully it could be exciting for that. But just something to go back on too. From the national duels for the all Greco teams, we had Jarvis Little that went 6-0. We had Hunter Sturgill that went 6-0. We also had Jake Stacy go 6-1. So that was super impressive. And I know we had another bout when we were in freestyle. We ended up catching a bye, so we didn't get one of our extra matches. But again, when I started talking about selflessness, Hunter Sturgill had a chance to go out there and absolutely just destroy a kid that we'd beaten early on in Greco. And he gave up a match to give another kid a match to be able to be the duel. So instead of making an all-tournament team, he was selfless and helped us win that duel by allowing another kid to wrestle. And I'm proud of that group. The guys step up. They wrestle hard. They're selfless. I just love seeing these guys together. We took Landon Cell. He goes out there and coaches for us. He cleans up blood. He does whatever he can. He took a forfeit at 170 pounds, but just seeing those guys together, coaching one another. Oh, yeah. He hobbled out there. I have the picture to prove it. But again, seeing these guys grow as a junior group is super special to me. And that's what I love to see, from schoolboys to cadets to juniors, and then see what they're going to do in their college careers is really special for me. And that's what I enjoy the most about being with these group of guys. But again, super proud of them. Can't wait to be with this group again next year. Have one last ride with some of these guys that are seniors and see what the next group of kids got. Because like you said, this cadet group coming up is something absolutely special. And I think some of the leadership that we have of this junior team is going to be something Tennessee has never seen before. And I can't wait to see it.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. Good deal.
Yeah.
So talk about the cadet / 16U group. I mean, we had some things go on in that group.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, placing top 8, both styles, having all tournament guys. So super special.
I think you got a little list for us there, don't you? For the 16Us?
I had the juniors, not the 16Us.
Okay. Hold on here. There we go. Okay. Here we go.
Yeah. Hey, let me give another shout out real quick for the duels again. I think some things you asked me to look at that were special, keeping Chris Debian around to be able to come back to the duels was super special. I thought that was awesome. The kids absolutely love him. We're blessed now with Joe Bakewell. I think he did a phenomenal job. He's a great person for our guys to be around. So having those two coaches at junior duels, and then, Bakewell traveling out to Fargo, I think we got somebody special with him in this junior group for the next couple of years. So I was definitely privileged and honored to be coaching with those guys. Jarvis Little, Daddy Jarvis, got the Volunteer of the Year award. He did a fantastic job putting those teams together. But again, I look forward to coaching with these guys again, and can't wait to see what we get when we combine these two groups together.
Absolutely. We're going to keep you on here right now. I got a couple. I got the 16U list and the 14Us and the 12U list here, right here, ready to roll. So at the 16U level, I mean, obviously, like Pete was just alluding, this is, between that and our 14Us. I mean, we have some of the higher accomplished, national level kids in Tennessee that we've seen in probably ever. I mean, we talk about kids that are consistently placing at all these tournaments. But just like a little top 5 list right here going on from the 16U. Actually, we have six because we couldn't really narrow it down to 5. but last year,
no way.
I know. So Ace Chittum last year for us, it's the 16U, double All-American at Fargo, double AA at national duels. And the World Team Trials, he was 1st and 2nd as well. I mean, and that's, like I said, those are things right here we just can't keep off the list. I mean, that little guy right there, I can't wait to see where that guy, where he ends up. He's actually getting bigger. I saw him, when was it, last week or so, whatever, at the duels, and he broke 100 pounds. So can't wait to see when he starts getting up about 100, boy, look out. That kid's a little savage. But you mentioned Jose Cordero already, had a great junior tournament for you. out there, but he was also double All-American in Fargo this year, which is a huge accomplishment at that 16U level. Max Norman, another one, double Fargo All-American at double All-American at Fargo, and also another All-American at the national duels. Max, mainstay on our national teams. We're super proud to have him at that age group level. One that we had that was brand new to the Olympic styles this year was JoJo Yurichuk. and not only JoJo has never wrestled the Olympic styles before. Well, he's wrestled very limited. Let's just say that. I think they wrestled on the 14U team last year. I think they've been on a couple of dual teams, but they never really wrestled the Olympic style. So I really don't know, freestyle or Greco. It's kind of outside their wheelhouse. They're really good at folk style, but they ended up going to Fargo. Him and Ethan went to Fargo this year, and JoJo ended up third in literally like one of the most stacked weight classes in freestyle at the 16U level. JoJo ended up third place.
I know they showed up at Central Regionals with us,
right.
And they were laughing. They were like, "Hey, it was a last minute decision. We drove all night. We're ready to wrestle." And then Jake Stacy rolls up out of nowhere and says, "Hey, I asked my best friend to drive me up." So we drove all night and we competed. So I'm telling you, these guys, they want to compete. They love it. No matter where it's at, they're going to find competition.
Crazy. It's crazy. So JoJo, man, big shout out to him. Like I said, third at Fargo, and just a stack bracket there in the freestyle. And then Seamus Reagan, another Minion kid, had just a great season. Double All-American at Fargo freestyle national champion. Really only had three ever that were Fargo freestyle champions, and that's Boykin, Marable, and now Seamus. So man, just a huge shout out to him. And then as a team, our 16U team made the Greco gold pool. We had the best Southeast team at 16U national duels this year, and the best Fargo team placing with two eight place team finishes this year at Fargo. For a team like Tennessee, to be in the top 10 and to be beating teams, especially like on the Greco level. I want to say we beat Illinois. We beat Minnesota.
We
did. That's just like, you can't, nobody would guess that. That we would have that type of success. And I'm telling you, it's a deal where we're really, really raising some eyes, and bringing some attention around the country. So, man, couldn't be more proud of the kids and what they're doing at that 16U level. And when we combine, like, some of those 16Us that can be juniors with our juniors right now, some of the 14Us that are going to come up and combine with the first year 16U juniors, I'm telling you, man, things are good. Things are good here in Tennessee right now. So, but here's our 14U list of our top five accomplishments here this year. Again, a lot of great stuff going on here at the 14U level. Maddox High won his third national title, was a double champ. Might be the first Tennessee history at the youth level. I'm not sure. But obviously, Maddox High is, he's one of our mainstays on the national level there. And that guy, he's just going to, I can't wait to see what goes on with him moving forward when he gets in the next 4 years. We had double champs in both styles, in Maddox High and Dylan Villers in freestyle. Maddox and Jackson Lane in Greco. So we actually doubled up. We had two freestyle national champs, obviously in Dylan and Maddox. And then Maddox, came back and repeated in Greco, and him and Jackson Lane, who's also a Minion kid from Chattanooga area, won in Greco as well. So huge shout out to those guys. And, for us to have, multiple national champions at the kids nationals, that's just huge for our state. It really is. Overall, we had 6 finalists at the national, at the 14U nationals, 4 in freestyle, 2 in Greco. So very, very, very impressive. We had 4 undefeated wrestlers at the national duels, who were Maddox High, Dylan Billers, Jackson Lane, and Jakai Roller. So again, we got just a ton of kids that are wrestling at that high national level. And I just can't wait to continue to see what's going on here in our future and what type of teams are going to be producing moving forward. And then Matt High basically gave a really nice shout out there again for our 14U girls team, who was 6th at the national duels. They did outstanding job, and just for us to send a 14U team this year, that's just awesome. So 14U, we got a lot of good stuff going on there. You got any comments on that, Coach Miller?
Yeah, the girls' duels were also there at the same time as the junior boys' duels, and I'm telling you, you talk about a takeover. It was absolutely phenomenal to see. The refs didn't expect it. I'm telling you, they had no idea. Girls' teams just kept rolling in.
Really?
We would wrestle around. We'd have like a 4-hour break. We'd come in, and the girls were still rolling. I've never seen that much action. That is the loudest arena I've ever seen. Like, I mean, they'd be so fired up, and I'm not. And it'd be like wrestle
Smiles on Kenny's
backgrounds.
face. Kenny's so proud. She's like, man, this is awesome to hear this about the
I'm
girls.
telling you, it was a shock. And like everybody's like, these girls' teams just keep rolling in. It was phenomenal for the sport of wrestling. I absolutely loved it. But yeah, girls were they're in wrestleback rounds getting so loud and amped up and crazy. And it was absolutely awesome to see for the sport of wrestling for females.
Yeah.
So
One thing
definitely
about
exciting.
a girls' duel tournament is it will not be quiet.
Oh my, no, absolutely not. No,
They
no. But
support each other so well.
Well, they definitely realized they have something having all the girls together, but all the girls plus the junior boys, that was a whole lot of people in there. And so the times for us sitting around between dual meets now, instead of usually about 30, 40 minutes, is about 4 to 5 hours.
Yeah.
So that was taking some getting used to. But again, as far as the girls going, it was absolutely phenomenal. It was electric.
Yeah,
That's
that's
awesome to hear.
awesome. That's awesome. I know they're actually having to redo the schedule now, the dual schedule.
Yeah, they have to.
Mhm.
Yeah, they are. I mean, it's just that event's just there's too many participants for that one event.
Yep.
Way too many. So, yep. But then, yeah, at the 12U level and down, we had 3 kids that did a really great job here on our national level this year. Super proud of them. Chase Smith, double champ, U.S. Open. Calix Kirkpatrick was 3rd in both styles at the 12U Nationals. And then Cash Harrison, Derek's boy. Yep, little animal was the 12U national champ in Greco. So shout out to those little 12 and unders. And we just, we still got as an organization, I think we still have a lot of growth, that we're leaving on the table there with those, the little guys. But it's hard, when you start looking at 8U, 10U, 12U, that type of stuff, a lot of those kids go from wrestling during the AU season, then going into their baseball season, stuff like that. So, we just got to continue to sell it to them as far as if they're not playing baseball and not doing those other sports, to join us on the freestyle Greco circuit. And I think the more we keep getting involved there, then I think the better we'll be at the 14Us moving forward. So
yeah, and if you ever want to hear an interesting story, just talk to Derek about how long it took him to get out there for that national tournament and him still do how well he did. So definitely shout out to Cash. I think he spent days in airports and cars and not even knowing what direction the kid was driving. He hopped out of the car, made weight, and he won a national title. So I know that definitely made it, worth the while for he and Derek for that trip. So that's what I love hearing, the behind the scenes stories stuff. That's always makes it really cool.
Absolutely. Well, knowing Cash, that doesn't shock me one bit. That dude don't need sleep. Heck, man, that dude can roll on a freaking hour, and he'd be ready to roll, man. That kid got endless energy. So
I think that's about what he got.
Yeah, I think that's probably it. Well, Pete Miller, anything else? Anything else you want to comment on for 2023, my man?
Hey, I just got to say one more thing. I got to keep this shirt on because I think the number one thing for our program was absolutely our shirt, baby, right here. Go Tennessee. Yeah.
You notice the spelling on there, can you?
Yeah.
No.
Look close now. Look close.
TNN. Is it missing an E?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it passed through about 5 of us.
Everybody's asking me if I still have any of those.
Oh, dude, this is going to be iconic. I had people asking all types of money for it. I said, no way.
Oh, my goodness.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
And of all programs, Alabama had to be the one to call us out on the bus. So we weren't proud. It was all right. We liked it. But, yeah, I'm definitely going to cherish this shirt for sure.
I know. I'm still trying to get my hands on one of those.
Yeah.
Kenya, you have anything else for Coach Miller here?
No, absolutely. But it's so cool to be able to see so much different representation. And even you're talking about how like some of these younger kids are stepping up to wrestle in these older brackets. And it's just awesome to see that there's so many young men out there who are, like you kept using the word selfless and just ready to do whatever they need to do to contribute to their team and to this state. So thanks so much for sharing with us.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what the state's become. People aren't afraid to hide behind the doors of their wrestling room. People are opening up their doors. They're finding practice partners. They're welcoming in women's programs. And I think that's how we're making leaps and bounds to catch up with the rest of the country. So super excited to be able to see the growth of our men's and women's wrestling programs here in the future.
Love it.
Absolutely. Yes.
Love
Thank
it.
you for all you do to contribute.
Pete, man, we appreciate you, buddy.
Yep. See y'all soon. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Yeah,
You gave us
Pete,
a peace sign.
I know. Well, that's Pete, but he's been involved for a long time, and his dad,
He's
iconic.
ripping.
I mean, his dad, iconic, Cleveland wrestling coach. I mean, one of the very his dad is actually one of the very first ones that started the whole USA wrestling program here in Tennessee. I mean, so you talk about like somebody that's literally been, I mean, this has been in the Miller family forever. Yeah. So Al, was very, 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 to say he was active on the national level, to represent the state of Tennessee is a significant understatement. He was on, Fargo teams, national teams for years. Years, way before I was. So, yeah. So, super proud to have Pete. Because, and that's one thing. Pete has a very, very successful program here in Middle Tennessee. And then, but it's not, he's very, obviously, it's first and foremost, that just like any other high school coach is going to be, taking care of his own team. But at the end of the day, he is super, super selfish, super, super selfless.
Yeah.
With the time that he gives to the whole other state. He literally has this. He's one of the ones that runs a very successful high school program. I would lump him. Derek Harrison would be another one off the top of my head that run very, very successful high school wrestling programs in our state, but also want the very best for for the state of Tennessee in those off-season things when they're doing those national teams and stuff like that, and putting together, like I said, again, the best representation from our state, not necessarily, just pushing for what's going to benefit their programs. So having people like that, again, on our board of directors, just selfless people like that's why we're doing so well. It is. It's just, that's why we're doing so well. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's definitely given me a lot of perspective, and I hope it gives also a lot of perspective to our viewers that, it's more than just your athlete or your high school room or your club program. Like we're a part of something bigger, and it's so cool to be able to see people from all over the state, like contributing their time and their money and their talents and all these things just to make our state a better state. It's an honor to be a part of Tennessee USA Wrestling. So.
Well, you're going to see it firsthand this year because you're right here, you're automatically on the staff, on coaching staff. McKenzie just officially recruited you today.
Yeah.
Tonight on this podcast. It's a done deal. So you're already going to do that. You're going to do the clinic. We got it. You're already involved. We're good.
No, there's no way I would have said no, but I love how easily you volunteered my time.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. I kind of volunteered your time for this podcast. I can't even get that. She can do it. She can do that. Oh, she can get nothing to do. She can go to Fargo. She can go on these duels. Yeah, no problem.
Well, I'll be there, and I can't wait. It's so awesome.
Love it. Speaking of McKenzie, she actually texted me. I made a mistake. Cleveland was at the Powerade tournament. Over the Christmas break. I figured that they went to the knockout and they were done. So, but no, they actually had three kids place at the Powerade. Logan Fowler.
Stop going.
I know. Shoot, man, I'm telling you, people, they ain't scared. Tennessee kids ain't scared. But Logan Fowler was 4th. Lucas Borski was 7th, and Tyson Russell was 5th at the Powerade. So
that's awesome.
Tell you what, between that, the Beast, the Iron Man, the Brecksville, the Knockout. And Stampede. Tell you what, man, we represented big time. Yeah. Now we just got to maybe send some guys out to the Doc B in California. So that's the other one. That's a little bit tougher to get to. That's very difficult to go to. That's in the Clovis area, Fresno area. But that's the other one.
Well, we get there. Let's see. We're headed that way. It seems like.
I'll go. I'm not scared. I'll go. I don't know how much I bring to the table, but I'll definitely go. Can you go? We should do a podcast from there, right? So, just like we did for national duels, which I guess we probably should give our shout out for the national duels that we had here.
We probably should.
Outstanding event. We actually did that one. Did that live podcast with Royce Alger, which was awesome. But overall, we had a ton of positive feedback from the people that came. Not only the people from Tennessee that showed up, and which I think we crept around. We had anywhere for, I believe, probably 900 to 1,000 people that showed up. Which was,
I was wondering what it turned out to be. That's awesome.
So, it was a great attendance. So we had teams that came in, coaches that brought their teams, that type of stuff. It was awesome. Some just amazing wrestling. That's for sure. The marquee match in the first night didn't really pan out because Cornell sat, 4 or 5 of their really good kids and took away about 4 or 5 of the marquee matches, which I'll let the other wrestling outlets go into that, and the Twitters and all that stuff. But that was kind of unfortunate because that was not that I wasn't excited for the NC State Ohio State match, but the Iowa State Cornell match was the one I was really excited about. I mean, there was like some really good matchups there, and they just didn't happen. I think one of the top 10, they had like 5 or 6 top 10 matchups, and only one of them happened. So unfortunately,
kind of stinks for the event, but I mean, I guess their team's got to take care of their team and their athletes. So.
Yeah, I don't know. There's always 2 sides of the story, and I'm not, gonna whatever. I mean, I like the Cornell people, so it's it is what it is. Why they didn't wrestle? I don't know. Who knows? But that's for them to decide. I'm not the coach there, so but all in all, it was a great event. Everybody had a great time. I know. It was funny because I ran into Kevin Dresser's a real good buddy of mine. Iowa State head coach. So I ran into him after the first night. We went out and had some dinner, and his whole fan base. I mean, literally, they said it was just awesome. They loved being in Nashville. They loved. I guess they went pretty hard the night before. They enjoyed Nashville. Let's put it that way.
I mean, it's a hard city not to have.
Oh, I mean, they loved it, and so they said their fans loved it. And then the next night, Coach Schwab. The next day, first of all, a shout out to Doug Schwab, who ended up doing our clinic for us that we had the second day. And normally, like I was telling the kids at the tournament, and he said that he just basically when we with this clinic together the second day, he committed. He said one of our staff members will be there to do it. He didn't tell me if it would have been him, Coach Pugh, Coach Roper, which one it would have been. Drew Foster, who was national champ, I think, about 4 or 5 years ago. So it could have been any just amazing coaches because all 4 of those coaches are incredible. Mm-hmm. And I was going over there the morning of the clinic, and Schwab texted me, "Hey, you picking me up at the airport, or are you picking me up at the hotel, or what?" And I'm saying, I was like, I texted back and said, "You're doing it?" Oh my goodness! Because mostly, Division I coaches, that's something that they pawn off on their RTC athletes.
Oh, absolutely.
Or their volunteer coaches. So I was 100% either expecting maybe we'll get Drew Foster, national champ. I have no problem with that. Or he was going to dump it, or he's going to talk Roper into do it, or whatever. I had no idea that Doug Schwab, who national champ at Iowa, head coach at UNI, Olympian, was going to do the clinic. And the kids were
over the moon, I'm sure.
Oh, I mean, they got Olympian teaching them how to wrestle at 9 o'clock in the morning, when they're going to watch a bunch of their heroes wrestle. So it was just awesome. He did just an unbelievable job. I think I videoed the whole thing because I saw some techniques that he was doing there that I immediately started putting our young guns through. I mean, I was like a fanboy, and I've known him for 20 years, so it was awesome. But that second day with wrestling was outstanding. But then his wife, who's basically the director of ops, said, "Hey, we need to play." This was like halfway through the day. "Oh yeah, by the way, we need a place for 50 of our people to eat. Can you hook it up?" I'm like, yeah, I can do it. I'll do something. Yeah, I get you. So my good friends over here next door to Hampton Social, I gave them that option and also a barbecue joint. And I just told them, "Hey, listen, you're in Nashville. This is all fans and families and stuff like that, with the exception of your team." They're like, "Yeah, you got to do something something cool. You can go to a barbecue joint in Cedar Falls, Iowa. So you got to go to Hampton Social, one of the most popular places here. I got the rooftop reserved for you. My people over there hooked it up, and it's one of those Instagram, like whatever, the glowy letters and stuff on the wall and stuff like that. That's what people, that's what this place is like. So I ran it into Parker Keckheisen's mom at the bar. She was getting a couple drinks and some food, and she's like, "Oh, thanks a lot for hooking us up." And I was like, "Hey, I hope you all had a great time." And she's like, "Listen, I'm going to speak for my whole fan base. Is this better be back here next year?" Cool. This was the most fun we've ever had at a tournament, with the exception, obviously, of NCAA's. This is the most fun we've ever had at a wrestling event. You better have it back next year. And I was like, "It's out of my hands. Hopefully Frank wants to bring it back."
Let the people speak, though.
I know. Yeah. I was like, "Oh, how's the wrestling?" Okay, let's take Broadway and the entertainment aspect. How was the wrestling? So, but everybody likes coming to Nashville. So, hopefully, fingers crossed. Hopefully we get it back next year. And hopefully Frank wants to bring it back. I'm thinking, because here's what I brought it to Frank. So here's the deal. So the toughest tournament out there right now at the Division I college level is the Cliff Keen Invitational, hands down, besides all the conference tournaments, besides the Big Tens, all the conference tournaments and the nationals. The toughest one, hands down by far, is the Cliff Keen tournament, which is, I mean, it's crazy, crazy tough. So, and that's in Las Vegas, one of the biggest entertainment destinations that we have in this country. So if we have the toughest individual tournament during the season there, then we have the toughest dual tournament here in Nashville, the other entertainment destination in the United States.
Yeah.
What does that do for wrestling? Right there.
I agree.
That's my plug on it.
Yeah,
There you
hopefully the right people. You have me convinced, but my opinion doesn't matter.
You're convinced, right, Kenya? So there we go. So
You got my vote.
all right. Well, hopefully, some people listen to the podcast like, you know what, that makes a little sense.
I hope so. I hope so.
But yeah, so but yeah, other than that, I think we're in a good spot right now, huh, Kenya?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's been cool to see everything like full picture within, 1 hour and 20 minutes.
Yep. Love
So.
it. Yeah, we're at the 100 or the hour and 20-minute mark, which is good. That's good. That's good. That's about right. That's a good sweet spot.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had a lot to cover, shoot. Or if our state wouldn't be doing so good, shoot, we had nothing to cover.
No, it is a good problem to have.
Yeah, I'm glad we couldn't cover all this in like 45 minutes. That wouldn't have been good.
That's sad. And like truly within each division on both the boys and girls side, it was almost hard to narrow it down to just 5. Like we could have easily done like top 10 was your kind of idea at first. We could have easily done that as well. So it's a great problem to have to see who's the best things out of the best things to talk about. So
well, like I said, next year we'll split it up. Next year we got to split it up because we'll be going on 3 hours next year. We can't be having that.
So yeah, if we go for 3 hours, I'm gonna text my mom and tell her to do the smoke alarm on purpose.
There you go. That's right. Awesome. Well, Kenya, we again appreciate your time. This is awesome. I missed doing the podcast for last couple weeks.
Yeah, quickly.
Yeah.
We're back on schedule. So we'll see you next
back
Tuesday.
on schedule. Yep. Now next week, like I said, I'll have to have a maybe I'll get Pete back on here. He can be the host.
Oh, he's fun. Yeah. Let's talk about ripping and gripping.
Pete, maybe Derek. Maybe I'll put Derek, but put my vice chairman to work.
Yeah, figure it out. Yeah. But regardless of who's on here with me, we will be here next Tuesday. So you guys,
right. And I'm sure they're gonna do a fantastic job as well. So everybody, we appreciate you tuning in. And like I said, just if you run into any of the kids that we mentioned on the podcast today, just tell them how proud you are of them and just what they bring to the table for us in Tennessee, and just let's keep things rolling. So until next week, thanks so much, everyone.
Absolutely. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. There we go.